So just like to welcome everyone to our stakeholders meeting for federal programs. And today I would like to provide an overview of the amount of money we have this year, which is projected to be about the same for next year, and how it was spent this year and moving forward plans for next year. Title 1A is part of the Every Student Succeeds Act. We receive approximately $5 million under Title I Part A. And its goal is to support local efforts to assist schools with high numbers or percentages of low-income families, those who are in poverty, and meeting the challenging needs of state academic standards. To be eligible, a school for this year had to be 40% or more of students qualifying for free and reduced lunch. Next year that increases to FY22 to 50%. The students that previously qualified but have not reached 50% for next year will be in a hold harmless year, so they'll have 1 year to bring that up to 50% or not receive funding in FY23. The services that are provided through Title 1A by the district, we provide technical assistance, guidance, and oversight. The schools increased access to interventions and before and after school tutoring, increased parent engagement, and increased professional development for staff. When we look at our graduation rates for economically disadvantaged, we can see for Matsu here that since 2014 to 2015, actually, graduation rate compared to the 2020 graduation rate is greatly increased. That right now, in the Matsu, our graduation rate for our economically disadvantaged is higher than any other district in the state and the statewide average. When we look at them compared to their peers in our own district, you can see over time, the blue line is all of our students. So you can see 74%, 75, you can see that increase up to 86% for FY20. For economically disadvantaged students, 58 years ago, and then that has increased over time, as you can see, to 83%. So they're within 3% of their of all students, and within 4% when compared straight up to the non-economically disadvantaged. There is room for improvement, so we want those numbers to match up and to always be getting bigger. When we look at Title 1A budgets by school, you can see how money was allocated to schools, and on this slide over here, approximately 55% of the budget goes to schools, and 23% goes to initiatives, and 4% to homeless, and then 18% to preschool. Title I Part C is our migrant education program. This year it had $3.1 million, which is really a big number. It won't be the same for next year. This was due to some carryover that occurred after COVID. The Migrant Ed program, this goal is to ensure that all migrant students reach challenging academic standards and graduate with a high school diploma, and then it prepares them for being a responsible citizen, to be a continuous learner and productive employment. Who are the students that are our migrant students? They're students that participate in either logging, berry picking, subsistence fishing. Those are all qualifying events. They're children that are from birth to 20 years old and have not graduated from high school. And then when they participate in the commercial fishing, the subsistence fishing, or logging or farming, or berry picking, that they travel to do that. And the move or travel is a minimum of 7 nights and 8 days over the course of a year. And in the Matsuboro School District, the move has to be a minimum of 20 miles from the child's home. Migrant Ed services, what are provided, supplemental services that we provide are school supplies, book fairs, magazine subscriptions, resources, free breakfast and lunch, tutoring, safety classes such as hunter safety. We just had a babysitting first aid classes last weekend, swimming lessons, and we also provide preschool, summer school, and before and after school. So I put the cupcake on here to describe how migrant dollars can be used. So when we think of the cupcake and we look at the cake part, that is the general operation funds, the funds that the school district gets to operate. And the icing would be like the Title 1A funds that we just described. But the migrant funds would be the sprinkles. So it has to be in addition to all of those other things. It cannot supplant the general budget or the Title 1 budget, Title 1A budget. And our migrant program, you can see our numbers for the last several years. This year it is down a little bit, but our enrollment in the district is down also due to COVID. So as students return to school, we hope to see that number increase as well. When we look at graduation rates, you can see that our migrant students graduation rate in 2019 was greater than the graduation rate for all students. It did take a dip last year that I'm sure is related to COVID, and although the graduation rate for all students stayed the same, so we're looking at this year, we provided extra supports to our migrant families in regards to credit recovery and other opportunities to make sure that graduation happens for students. Title II Part A is preparing and training and recruiting high quality teachers and principals. As you can see, we have about $750,000 in that area. And the purpose of Title IIA is to increase student academics through professional development, recruitment and retention of highly qualified teachers, and provide greater access to effective educators for our low income and minority students. Services that are provided are recruitment at career fairs with a focus on hard to fill positions such as special education and related service providers. Also new higher orientation and onboarding, providing opportunities for professional growth licenses, and professional developments in the Mat-Su-Borough School District's core 4 areas of targeted instruction, data-driven decisions, social emotional learning, and integrated digital content. Title III, our English learners, approximately $70,000 is in that program. And its goal is to develop student competency in English, use English to achieve academically in all content areas, and to use English to communicate in socially and culturally appropriate ways. Eligibility is determined by any student in grades K through 12 who speaks or hears a language other than English in their home and has difficulty with English are eligible for screening. Services provided, we use a case manager model, so that helps with classroom push-in, sometimes small group instruction, coaching teachers in the EL strategies, modeling lessons, collaborating, and many other strategies are employed to increase the English learning of those students that are in the EL program. When we look at our language data by for the school district and the number of languages, you can see that that when we look at this, that 38% of the languages are Russian, the students that qualify for EL. And then the next one, largest one is Spanish, followed by Hmong. And what's the other one there? Oh, what's considered additional languages. You can see on the chart on the right that I do have highlighted our Alaska Native languages, and our largest one is the Yupik with 60 students that qualify for that, and then in your pocket 17. Athabascan and Aleut make up about 4 students. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not realize that not get deleted. That actually is last year's slide, and this is this year's slide. So the colors are a little different. So you can see last year we had 695 students. This year we have 610 93, so about the same. And the numbers for our languages are about the same. Title IV, Part A is student support in academics and enrichment grants, which is about $880,000. There's 3 components to this, and one of them is well-rounded education. Second one is improving school conditions for student learning, and the third one is technology. This is an entitlement grant distributed by the federal government to state agencies, and the state of Alaska DEED applies a formula to make allocations to school districts regarding Title IV-A. What services does Title IV-A provide for our students in the district? It is how we pay for our safety resource officers in our high school, our inset middle school academy, school supplies for students, and the safety equipment such as cameras and those systems that are in schools, the security cameras. The 21st Century Community Learning Grant, which is Title IV Part B, is close to $600,000. The purpose of this grant is to provide local school districts and community learning centers for after-school programs for low-performing schools. And so the qualifying schools we have in our district for this grant are Rochelle High School, Wasilla High School, and Wasilla Middle. The services that they provide are before and after school tutoring, summer school, clubs, and also transportation. Title VI is our Indian Education Act. It receives approximately $580,000. And its goal is to support the efforts of local educational agencies to meet the unique cultural, language, and educational needs of Alaska Native and American Indian students. To be eligible, a student must be members of a federally recognized tribe or a descendant of parent or grandparent that is a member of a federally recognized tribe. And every student is required to have a 506 Indian Student Eligibility Certification form on file. Services provided through IEA are core content area high school classes, ANSET, before and after school programs, school supplies and backpacks, Native Youth Olympics, cultural activities and festivals, cultural presentations for schools, tutoring referred by IEA staff, summer school, preschool, tribal partnerships, and graduation coaches. The enrollment for ANAI students over the years looks like this. You can see the numbers there. In FY20, we did shift to a different student management information system. So it records our students a little differently. And so although we have 1,686 students who have identified in FY20 who identified as Alaska Native only, but there's an additional 1,837 that identified as Alaska Native and something else. And so you can see how that's divided up. For graduation rates, you can see the graduation rate has increased over the years. Currently it is at 82%. All students is at 86, so we still have some work there to bring that up to at least the same or above what it is for all students, for our IEA students. Title I, Part D is Families in Transition, which is about $40,000. The program goal is to support students that are identified as homeless and that they have access to the same free and appropriate public education that all other students have. Eligibility is a child or youth who have a primary nighttime residence that is a public or private place not designed for ordinary use for regular sleeping or accommodations. So children and youth who are living in cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, bus or train stations, or other settings that are like that. Migratory children also qualify for homeless under the purposes of this subtitle. Services that are provided through FIT are clothing and school supplies. They qualify for free and reduced lunch. They help with FAFSA verification for college and with food stamps, hygiene kits, and transportation. Our current information for our families in transition data. You can see it by school, and these are the number of students that are identified. This number is down this year as our enrollment is down in school as well. These are our unaccompanied homeless youth that are in that are homeless as well. So these numbers are students that are with their families that are with an adult, and these are students that are without an adult. You can see on this chart how our number this year at 387, this was as in February, is smaller than it has been in the past. And we feel that these students are probably out there, they're just not enrolled in school. The consolidated admin pool is approximately $1.7 million. And it's a portion of Title I Part A and C and Title II Part A monies that is set aside for district administration to operate programs. The personnel that's provided for that, through those funds are 1.25 directors, 1.25 program administrators, 4 TOSAs, which stands for Teachers on Special Assignments, 1 Ed Tech, and 4 secretaries. Special education is about $5.4 million and provides individualized instruction and specialized instruction to almost 3,000 students. We have a variety of services and student support services, and there's a list there on the right of what some of those are. District-wide programs are applied behavioral analysis. They're in 6 locations and serves about 50 students, and that focus is on academic and adaptive and social skills. And then in 3 locations, we have structured learning settings where the focus is on executive function and mindfulness. Both of these programs are for students that are on the autism spectrum. Transition programs that we have serves about 30 young adults that are ages 18 to 22. They're community-based program, and their focus is on functional and adaptive skills, employment maturity skills, and recreational activities and accessing the community. The School to Work program is part of that as well. So it's community-based employment opportunities for up to 30 high school students. Students develop employment maturity skills and earn minimum wage and high school credit at the same time. There are community outings that take place also through this for adaptive physical education. And so that way students also have an opportunity to practice some independence and to gain some, learn how to access activities in the community. Career and technical education is about $463,000. And what it supports is for the staff, it supports the mentoring, professional development, and curriculum development, and program evaluation. For students, it supports them being able to get certified through certain programs, supplies, fees, and tuitions for industry-specific programs, and transportation. Are there any questions? Well, I would like to thank you for your time today and for joining us.